Welcome back to another episode of the Maverick Insider. As usual, I'm your host, Brian Kelly. This week, I'm joined by two Maverick baseball players, Teddy Peterson and Jimmy Larson. Boys, thank you for taking the time out of your guys' busy schedule to come out, talk some little baseball, and some fun facts. So, we'll start this off. How has fall ball been treating you guys? And so far, the preseason, as you guys get ready to take off to St. Louis next week?
Yeah, it's been good. We're rolling right now. It's kind of pretty much every day, 6 days a week, pretty much with one off day, usually on Saturdays or Sundays. And we're getting full stuff. Having the dome is great, especially in this winter. Like fall ball, we're outside the whole time, I think until like middle of October, and then we're in the field house for a little bit. But ever since we got back from break, we've been in that dome. We're pitching live. Yeah. You guys are throwing twice a week, every pitcher, and we're hitting live pretty much 4 days a week right now, which is great. And then infield wise, like we get that whole infield, get to take IO, so it's been nice.
Actual surface too. Pitching's nice. Throwing long toss in the dome, that's for sure a lot better than last year. But I think a lot of arms, a lot of the younger guys are stepping up. We have our whole pitching staff back from last year, so we're excited about that.
Yeah. Can you elaborate more on what the benefits are of having the dome for you guys to basically start the season? Because, like you said, you go to Myers Fieldhouse, it's very confined, very tight space. Then you go to the dome, you're allowed to now throw long toss and also throw off the mound and see live BP instead of hitting in a cage. Can you tell us what that's like, hitting outside of a cage compared to hitting inside of a cage?
Yeah, it's a lot different because like you think of the Myers Fieldhouse cages are really just like super narrow, super tall. Yeah. So you kind of feel like I'm a little claustrophobic. So in there, it's a different feel than when you get out on the field. And then also like when we get to take BP, let's say out in the dome, and so you get to see balls fly. They're going like you can see the backspin if you're hooking balls a little bit, or just kind of coming off balls like fall through wise. Yeah. With your swing, the balls are kind of hooking down the line. That's not really what you want. So you can really see like flights of the ball, which is good. And then also like when we're facing live and stuff, it's a lot easier to kind of pick up spin a little bit and just kind of release out of the hand because you do have that space you're able to focus in, whereas kind of in the field house we had that white background. And I know the dome, but we get that little purple on the bottom of the dome where that is kind of like the batter's eye almost, and it works really well.
Yeah, pitchers kind of had the advantage in Myers Fieldhouse for most days, but definitely out in the dome, it's nice throwing live. You get to see where balls go. You don't rely on the coaches saying that's a base hit or not. You can see it go through the infield or line drive, all that. Yeah. But definitely throwing long toss, getting our arms in shape.
Exactly. The biggest thing is that shoulder. So with the Florida trip coming up, like I mentioned, what is the most exciting thing about the trip, and where will you guys be heading?
We're heading to Orlando. I'm really excited about the warmth and being able to throw outside. Don't really get to Minnesota for a couple weeks afterwards, but kind of getting out there and seeing where our team's gone, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's always a fun trip. We obviously, like Jimmy said, being out there, getting the warm weather, but also like playing the teams that we do down there. Like last year, Auburndale, or who's Ashland? That's who we played down there, and they ended up being a World Series team this last year, and we played a tight game and we lost by 1 in extras last year. So it was, playing teams like that. It's
play them twice this.
Yeah, we played them twice this year, along with St. Cloud down there. So I mean, we're playing some quality teams, and that's always fun to like get down there and actually like compete. Get into it right away.
Yeah, because you and St. Cloud are the top two so far projected for the NSIC this year, so that's going to be one tight matchup, especially down in Florida. When you face them early, you get to see what the hell they're about. So you both being upperclassmen and being captains, what has being named that, what does that mean to you, and how have you absorbed the role of being a captain?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it means a lot. I mean, it kind of means you have to respect your teammates. You go about the things the right way, whether it's not only baseball stuff, but also like off the field, which is important, I think. And just kind of with that, like the extra duties or just kind of stuff you get is, I think I've seen throughout the years from like being a freshman, having like Eric Peterson and those guys, who's now with the Dodgers, like seeing how he kind of not only played, but how he practiced and went about his stuff on the daily thing is important. So like leading by example, and also being able to like speak up in certain situations is important, because when you're younger, you're kind of still kind of feeling it out to a point. But then like kind of right now, like this year especially, I've noticed like in certain times is like I think of certain things that I've heard before that I feel like younger guys kind of need, and you're able to kind of like pick up on that a little easier.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, me being kind of a junior captain, there's 3 seniors. I'm kind of learning still and just trying to be as vocal as I can. Just learning.
Well, you said you being the junior captain, what have you learned so far from, Teddy and Tori and who?
Buddy.
Light.
Yeah, just kind of being able to lead by example and just being able to be that vocal person that somebody can either come talk to or you can call somebody out who's not really doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, kind of just being that guy everybody kind of looks up to. The younger guys, like you said, you learn from these guys. So
he's the energy guy on our team too. He brings a whole lot of energy, which is awesome. We need that.
You may not seem like it right now, but you are a very energetic individual. So, what are your approaches? I'm going to start with you first, Teddy.
Sure.
What are your approaches at the plate? What is something that, the routines that you kind of do? What gets you in that zone, especially before the game?
So starting before the game, like BP wise, we start off like every round. First round is going to be a backside round, so we're working the other way, opposite field, and that's mostly just kind of seeing the ball deep, making sure we're focusing on that. We're not getting out on that front side, lunging and stuff, and just staying within ourselves, doing that, and then working through that, kind of progressing into gap-to-gap rounds, getting that power into it, and just seeing the ball. Well, that's my focus really with batting practice early. Is just I usually am in the box in between each pitch, just like see the ball, telling that to myself, just so I'm not overcomplicating things with technique and stuff. And then once the game gets going, like in the hole, I'm working on my breathing. That's something I'm really focused on this year with Chris Goodman. He's our GA, and he does a lot of like kind of mental performance stuff. And we've been working a lot with like controlling our breathing, controlling our breath, and then our heart rate usually hopefully will come down a little bit and we can relax a little bit going to the box, which is huge. So I do that in the hole, and then on deck, just kind of getting loose, not really thinking about too much. And then as I walk to the plate, I'm thinking about, okay, what pitch am I looking for? And then once I'm in the box, it's just kind of battle mode. Usually I might be looking fastball, might be looking off speed, depending on the situation. And then I kind of just go from there as the at-bat kind of dictates what he throws. But I'm not as much of a power guy as some guys, so I'm usually thinking kind of opposite gap with my approach, letting the ball get deep, because I have good enough hands where if I get some in that I can hopefully turn on and keep it fair. But looking opposite field, usually looking fastball, otherwise the situation dictates like off speed, I can hit that too.
So, Jim, I'm going to move to you. So, talk about your approach on the mound. How do you get yourself prepared before a game? And also, does it depend upon, your opponent, how you prepare a little differently, or do you still go about the same way?
I kind of go about it the same way. I always start out the day stretching, getting the trainer, go through my shoulder routine, kind of band workouts, and then throwing long toss. I usually like to bump it out to 150, 200 feet throwing. And then in the bullpen, just finding what pitches work for me that day, whether it be 2 or 3 pitches. And then kind of when I'm on the mound, I just know, I keep telling myself that nobody's going to be able to beat me. Like I'm better than all those guys. Even though sometimes they might be better than me. But as long as you have that positive self-talk, and like he said, Goody, going through our mental training and everything. If I ever get working too fast or all that, I kind of take a breath, got my own routine, take off my hat. Kind of just attack hitters.
So like in mid-game adjustments, like for you, would you say like kind of like taking this quick step off the mound and just kind of like walking around, just gather yourself a little bit and doing that?
One thing I worked on last year was kind of a visual cue on the field, like whether it be somebody from the dugout telling me to step off, I'd step off, find that visual cue, whether it be an outfield foul pole or a sign on the outfield fence, read it, look at it for a couple seconds, and then regather myself, take that breath I need.
Well, I was clear with that with your, some of your stats last season, 96 strikeouts and 77 2/3 innings, posting a 2.4 ERA. I mean, wasn't one bad of a year there, Jeff. And especially going to you had career highs in a lot of your statistics, and you can just clearly see, how did the adjustments of Coach Moggers, right? Yep. Coach Moggers, how did he set you up for success? You know, when you started out the year, you were in that 1-2 hole, and then all of a sudden he threw you behind, you know, Hart and Buck. Can you talk about how that was a big step up for you last season?
Yeah, no, that was an important time of the year because I was struggling a little bit of a slump at that time, kind of the end of the time when I was in that 1-2 hole with Tom, and I think he shifted me down in the lineup just to kind of take a little pressure off me because I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to get on base every time, to do all these things with the right way. But I mean, we know baseball is a game of failures. Sometimes it just doesn't go that way. So I think bumping me down, that was a big thing for me, just to take pressure off. Like you said, you know, having Hart and Buck right in front of me. Yeah. Their pitchers are usually trying to pitch around them. I'd say at least half the time, or most of the times, one of them is going to get on to the two. Yeah. So having that guy on base, that changes how the pitcher's going to attack me. I'm going to get a lot more fastballs, can sit on those. And then also, like, just kind of being able to, being that was my third year, getting kind of regular time, it was a lot easier to make those in-season adjustments. Whereas freshman year, it was kind of like, all right, I got into it, I had success right away, and then I struggled for a long period of time in the middle, and then kind of figured it out, and then playoffs were tough. And then sophomore year was kind of the same kind of thing with a little shorter, and then junior year just a little bit shorter. So I'm always looking to, they always say the best players, it's not that they don't have slumps or anything, it's that they shorten those slumps. So that's what I'm always trying to do.
Exactly. So then you talked about, you know, the failure rate in baseball being so high.
Yeah.
So can you both talk about, like, what is the mindset that you both have that you have to have in the game like baseball? You know, the failure rate's so high. Just talk about that in a little bit of a brief.
Yeah, I'd say for me, it's just kind of like trying to separate each at bat or each pitch or each game any way you can, and that's like just trying to take each one for what it is and not carrying things over. Because once you start carrying over, that's when you run into slumps and stuff. So.
And as a pitcher, you got to trust the guys behind you. And I think that's why I kind of used as a strength last year. I'd always turn around and tell Alter Matt, like, hey, this ball's coming to you, even though I don't know that. Just kind of being able to trust them and short memory. You get a hit, who cares? Ground ball, double play.
Exactly. Yeah. And being an infielder, does having someone who's, you know, fast-paced on the mound like Jimmy is, would you say that, like, helps you kind of, like, loosen up in the mind as well? Just kind of like, hey, you know, like, I got to be prepared for when the ball comes to me, make sure, you know, I field it correctly, go to the right base, know the situation and the timing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's huge. That's one of the best things especially an infielder, like outfielder, can't speak for them, but, like, it's the biggest thing when someone's working quick on the mound and, like, under control, like Jimmy said, not working too fast where he's moving, you know, and getting kind of crazy with that, but, like, just being with a good pace and, like, it keeps us in the game. Yeah. And that's huge just for, like you said, with the mind part of it. Like, you're not sitting in your mind. Like, in between pitches, you can relax a little bit, and then, you know, like 10, 15 seconds down the road, you're going to be back in it. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. Only losing 4 seniors from last year's team coming in. You guys have a lot of returning players. You know, you'll see a lot of familiar faces when fans go out there. Can you talk about what are some things you guys do to develop that team chemistry and have a lot of fun off the field?
Yeah, I guess starting like in fall and stuff, we do when it's nice out, we like to get out and we're big spike ball. Love the spike ball. Volleyball. We love playing other sports together. We got a lot of guys who like to compete and stuff. So doing a lot of that stuff. Winter, it's basketball, doing stuff like that. And just kind of hanging out, watching sports together, get together, watch the Vikes games. Yeah. Just hanging out. I don't know, playing cards is a big thing that's kind of come back this year. Guys are into a little bit of euchre, cribbage, stuff like that. Just baseball, you got to pass the time somehow, like buck rats, stuff like that. So
yeah, no, definitely. And we always seem to have fun when we're together. It's not really, there's some arguments, but we always seem to get past
that. Some guys with good opinions on it.
Yeah.
Trevor Davinsky.
Yeah. It's that EP.
Yeah, that's right.
It's that EP. I don't know what it is. What they do. Davinsky's one of the most real nice dudes. He's very genuine individual. Absolutely. And you said talking about cribbage. So who's that cribbage player that you go in is always like
Trevor will say it's him, but
I'll give it. He's pretty good. Him and Hunter, even another pitcher, they're pretty good. I'm roommates with them, so I always said that we always get, we're in the evenings or whatever, they're pulling out the table and stuff and playing. And but I don't know. I'd say those two. Jack Waltich, another guy he'll play a little bit. But yeah, there's a handful of guys who will get together and play, but those two for sure. Hunter, even Trevor Davinsky.
You guys don't consider yourselves up there?
I wouldn't say.
We're humble.
Yeah, I'm still a novice a little bit in that.
Yeah. So, what are you guys' expectations going in for this season?
Big expectations. I mean, I think we're right there to win the national championship.
Yeah.
Like you said, we got a lot of guys back. We got good team chemistry. We brought a lot of new guys in. I think we have like 20 new guys with transfers and freshmen.
Yeah.
And those guys have molded real well into kind of our culture and stuff.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about culture too this year. I think we are trying to change that a little bit to a point, being that it has been a few years since our program's gotten back there. So, but I think it's right there with the talent we have and the way the guys work. I think it's definitely attainable.
Yeah, expectation for the pitching staff. We've got all of our starters back from last year. We've just really lost Bobby. He's a big fun guy to be around. But expectations, we were top 10 in ERA almost the whole year last year in the nation. So I expect to be back there and expect to get a national championship.
Exactly. With Franklin Rogers Field, where the Moondogs play, with that being in town, would you rather play on turf or on grass? That's always a big controversial topic in baseball.
I mean, I always like playing in Mankato, whether it be turf or grass. It's better than traveling to Nebraska or wherever we got to find fields. But
basically the border of the United States and Canada up in North Dakota.
I don't know. For me, I don't mind. I like turf. You're always getting true hops.
Yeah.
I think it does play a little fast, so it does hurt, like in range wise, being in middle infield a little bit. So if I get a nice surface with natural surface, that's my number one.
Yeah. So Jimmy, when did you switch to pitching full time? And
after my freshman year of high school, I became a pitcher only. I realized that was my strength, and might as well kind of get good at that and make that my main priority.
Yeah. So then, Teddy, let's go. Now that you're a senior, what is the best memory for you that you've had in college so far?
I'd probably have to say, like, winning my freshman year when we were here, winning the conference tournament. It was pretty sweet. Doing that, I think we won the regular season conference championship at Augustana, which is sweet. Winning there is always fun. And then the dog pile at that point, baseball wise, it's been good. Otherwise, outside of baseball, I don't know. I've roomed with Trevor Davinsky he's been my roommate since freshman year. Yeah. Getting to know him as much as I have, and then also just kind of building relationships with guys like Jimmy and just other guys coming in. It's been fun.
Yeah. So Jimmy, you were a transfer from the Division I level. What's specifically K-State? What exactly is the difference from playing D1 ball to D2 ball?
Well, I never really played at Kansas State, but just kind of the experience I had, I'd say there isn't much difference between just baseball in general. Yeah, you don't play as many of the good teams, but there's still good competition at D2. Definitely practice-wise, there was a lot longer here. It's kind of more strict, more scheduled.
Well, Kansas State being in the Big 12, you have Oklahoma, Texas, TCU. What was it like traveling to those and just kind of like seeing the environment?
I never really traveled. I never traveled them, but I got to travel with when we played at the Kansas City field. That was pretty cool. Just watching all those guys come to Manhattan and play was pretty sweet. There were some hard throwers, big hitters. It was pretty cool to watch, but we definitely got that here. It's fun to watch, fun to play.
So I'll tell you, I'll come back to you. You have been an NSIC Gold Glove selection the past 2 seasons. What does, how much pride do you take in when it comes to your fielding?
A lot. Yeah, that's something I pride myself on every single year. I was fortunate to have a really good high school coach, Dean Schwartz, back in Glencoe, and he was a lot about defense. Yeah. We spent probably more than half the practice every day just working on strict, just fundamental defensive stuff. And I've grown to just love it, just working on certain fundamental drills, just breaking it all down. I love that. I don't know. I like being a good defender. I think it's a lot of fun for me. Some guys just love hitting. Some guys love doing other things. But that's one thing I just love doing.
Yeah. So the final question before we'll get you guys out of here, you guys can go to practice. What is your favorite thing about being a ball player?
My favorite thing is being able to compete. I mean, it's kind of different than every other sport. There's no shot clock. You can't run out the time. It's pitch by pitch, and you got to play to that last pitch.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, being an athlete in general, but like baseball, having that like kind of 1v1 a little bit. It's super. It's sweet just to be there, like in the box, and just like seeing, like, if I'm facing Jimmy, just like staring him down and being like, all right, I'm going to beat you. You know, there's not like basketball. You get that a little bit 1-on-1 in terms of the 5-on-5, but the only thing I can compare it to is, like, I wrestled when I was real young. It's kind of like to kind of get that wrestling mentality, which I consider the hardest sport in the world, where you have to you have no one else to rely on. It's just you and the other guy, and I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, in terms of baseball.
Well, I lied. I'm going to give you one more question because I'm always curious about this. You know, being a former ball player, if you could go back in time and visit one moment in baseball history or even sports history, what would that be for you guys?
I got mine. Actually, it would be the 91 World Series Game 7 for the Twins. Oh, yeah. The walk-off win. I think that would be one of the coolest moments. I'm a huge Twins fan. And sure, we've had some success and stuff, but nothing like, I think that would be really cool to see.
Exactly, since we've been alive.
Exactly.
I'm the same with him. That just sounds awesome. Just seeing the Twins succeed and win a World Series.
Yeah, well, the only thing Minnesota sports fans is the Minnesota Lynx that we've seen.
They're a dynasty. They are.
Exactly.
Can't deny that.
Exactly.
For sure.
Thank you guys for dropping by here today, and thank you for your time. It was an enjoyable conversation, so thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Tune back in next week for another episode of the Maverick Insider. As usual, I'm your host, Brian Kelly, alongside Teddy Peterson and Jimmy Larson. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.